Let's have a conversation about important topics in a simple and practical way, as if we were sitting on the porch sipping coffee. Get ready for a long and fruitful chat. 1. Calm and clarity. Oh, my young friends, let this old man tell you about the importance of calm in life. The calmer you are, the clearer your mind will be. It's like that day when I was all nervous about going to the doctor for some tests. I was so agitated that I couldn't even find my car keys. But then I took a deep breath, calmed down, and in an instant I found those blessed keys right there on the little table by the door. You know, life sometimes plays tricks on us, but it's important to accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. I remember when I lost my job at 50. At first I was desperate, but gradually I began to accept the situation. I left behind the sadness of what was and started to believe that something better would come. And wouldn't you know it, it did. I ended up starting my own business and did better than I expected. The mental clarity that comes with calm is like a blue sky day after a storm. Everything becomes clearer, easier to understand and solve. So, my dears, when life gets hectic, stop for a bit. Take a deep breath, have a cup of tea, and let the calm take over. You'll see how solutions appear more easily. 2. Persistence and effort. Now let's talk about persistence and effort. You know that moment when you want to give up? Well, that's exactly when you need to keep pushing. I remember when I started learning to use the computer, already at 70 years old. At first, it was all confusion. I barely knew how to turn on the device, let alone navigate the internet. There were times when I thought about giving up, thinking it wasn't for my age. But I kept trying day after day. And you know what happened? Today I send emails, use WhatsApp, and even make video calls with my grandchildren. All because I didn't give up when it got tough. Persistence is like planting a tree. At first you only see a dry branch, but if you keep taking care of it, one day you'll have a leafy tree providing shade and fruit. Another important thing, focus on improving yourself, not on proving yourself to others. When I was younger, I was always trying to show everyone that I was capable of this or that. Over time, I realized that the most important thing was to strive to be a better person every day, not to impress others, but for my own satisfaction. It's like exercising. At first, we want to show everyone that we are working out, but over time we understand that the real gain is in our health and well-being. The effort is worth it when it's for our own growth. 3. Patience and attitude. My dears, I want to talk a little about patience and attitude. Know that two things define you: patience when you have nothing, and attitude when you have everything. I remember when I became a widower at 65. It was a moment when I felt I had nothing left, but patience taught me to wait for the pain to lessen and for new days to come. And they came. Little by little, I resumed my life, making new friends at the neighborhood community center, learning new things. Patience showed me that even in the most difficult moments, you need to be calm and wait for the right time for things to improve. As for attitude, that's important when we have everything. When I retired, I thought I had achieved everything I wanted, but instead of settling down, I decided to have a positive attitude and stay active. I started doing volunteer work, taking better care of my health, traveling. The right attitude makes all the difference when it seems we already have everything. And remember, don't give up. Nothing lasts forever, not even pain. I went through difficult times in life, like when I lost my wife or when I had health problems, but I always kept in mind that that pain, no matter how intense, would one day pass, and it did. Life is like the seasons. After winter, spring always comes. 4. Mental control. Let's talk now about something very important: mental control. My young friends, control your thoughts, or they will control you. It's like driving a car. If you don't control the steering wheel, the car will go where it shouldn't. I learned this the hard way when I started having high blood pressure problems. The doctor told me that part of the problem was the stress caused by negative thoughts. I then began to practice controlling my thoughts. When a bad idea came, I tried to replace it with something positive. At first, it wasn't easy, but over time, it became more natural. It's like training a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it gets. Another thing I learned with age is the importance of being discreet. As the saying goes, become a ghost, forget attention, and grow in private. When I was younger, I wanted everyone to know about my achievements. Today, I understand that true growth happens when we're not worried about what others think. It's like tending a garden. The most beautiful plants grow with patience and constant care, not with fanfare. Focus on improving yourself day after day, without worrying about drawing attention. The results will come naturally. 5. Self-improvement. Speaking of improving oneself, I want to emphasize the importance of self-improvement. Push yourselves to be the best. No one will do it for you. I remember when I decided at 75 to learn to play the guitar. My grandchildren laughed, thinking it was too late. But I knew that if I didn't push myself, no one would do it for me. I started practicing every day, even when my fingers hurt. It wasn't easy, but I pushed myself to continue. Today, I play at family gatherings and even at some community parties. It's an immense joy to see how I can surpass myself, even at my age. Another important lesson: keep your achievements private until they are permanent. When I started to see progress on the guitar, I was tempted to show everyone, but I decided to wait until I had more confidence. It was a wise decision, as I was able to perfect my skill without the pressure of others. It's like planting a seed. You don't go showing everyone the sprout that's barely out of the ground. You wait for the plant to grow and become strong before displaying it. That way, when you finally show it, it will be truly impressive. 6. Relationships and influences. Relationships. They're so important in our lives, aren't they? Learn to survive alone and surround yourself with people who talk about visions and ideas. When I became a widower, I realized I needed to learn to manage on my own. It was difficult at first, but this independence made me stronger. At the same time, I sought to surround myself with interesting people who made me think and grow. At the community center, I made friends with a group that loved discussing books and politics. Our conversations kept me mentally active and gave me new perspectives. And remember, some people are like clouds. When they disappear, it's a beautiful day. I had friendships that seemed good, but actually brought me down. When these people drifted away, I realized how much lighter and happier my life became. It's like tending a garden. You need to remove the weeds so the flowers can grow. Cultivate relationships that make you flourish, that bring light to your lives, and don't be afraid to prune those that only bring negativity. 7. Peace of mind. My dears, I want to talk about something precious. Peace of mind. Value your peace of mind. You can't reach what's in front of you until you let go of what's behind. I learned this when I retired. At first, I kept ruminating on lost career opportunities, things I could have done differently. This prevented me from enjoying my free time. Only when I managed to make peace with my past could I really enjoy retirement. I started traveling, learning new things, spending more time with family. Peace of mind allowed me to look forward and enjoy the present. And remember, to be the best, you must deal with the worst. Life isn't just good moments. I went through losses, illnesses, financial difficulties, but each challenge taught me something and made me stronger. It's like gold that needs to go through fire to become pure and valuable. Cultivate inner peace. Make peace with your past. Accept the challenges of the present and look with hope to the future. This peace will be the foundation for a full and happy life. 8. Reflection and learning. Let's talk a bit about the importance of reflection and continuous learning. Know that the only time you should look back is to see how far you've come. I remember when I turned 80. That day, I sat on the porch and reflected on my life. I realized how many things I had achieved, how many obstacles I had overcome. This reflection wasn't to brag, but to recognize my own growth and motivate me to keep moving forward. It's like climbing a mountain. From time to time, it's good to look back and see how far we've climbed. This gives us strength to continue the climb. And never forget, fear kills more dreams than failure. How many times in life did I not do something out of fear? Fear of failing, fear of what others would think. But over time, I learned that the regret of not having tried is much worse than that of having tried and failed. When I decided to learn to use the computer at 70, many told me it was too late. Fear almost stopped me, but I decided to try anyway. Today, I use the internet with ease and even make video calls with my grandchildren. If I had let fear dominate me, I would have missed this wonderful opportunity to connect with the modern world. 9. Self-esteem and truth. My dears, I want to talk about self-esteem and the importance of being true to yourself. Know the difference between what you're receiving and what you deserve. I spent a good part of my life accepting less than I deserved, whether at work, in relationships, or even in caring for myself. It was only when I started valuing myself more that things changed. I started taking better care of myself, seeking healthier relationships, and demanding more respect at work. It's like caring for a plant. If you don't give it the water and sun it deserves, it will never fully bloom. And remember, don't be afraid to be different. Be afraid of being the same as everyone else. When I was younger, I was always trying to fit in, to be like everyone else. But over time, I realized that my uniqueness was my greatest strength. Today, at 85, I wear my colorful clothes, tell my crazy stories, and don't care if someone thinks it's strange. This authenticity has brought me more joy and true friendships than any attempt to fit into others' standards. 10. Responsibility and progress. Let's talk about responsibility and progress, my young ones. Know that no one will figure out your life. It's your responsibility. When I was younger, I kept waiting for opportunities to fall from the sky, for someone to come and change my life. But the truth is that change begins with ourselves. I remember when I decided to go back to school at 60. Nobody forced me. Nobody did it for me. I recognized that I wanted to learn more and took the initiative. It was challenging but extremely rewarding. It's like tending a garden. If you don't plant and water, no one will do it for you. And never forget, the first step to getting somewhere is to decide that you don't want to stay where you are. Many times in life, I remained stagnant out of fear of change, but whenever I decided to take the first step towards something new, things started to happen. When I retired, I could have stayed at home watching TV all day, but I decided I wanted more from life. I started doing volunteer work, traveling, learning new things. Each small step led me to a richer and more satisfying life in my golden years. 11. Character and integrity. My dears, let's talk about something very important. Character and integrity. Know that the true test of character is what you do when no one is watching. I remember once, when I worked as an accountant, I found an error that would benefit the company but harm the clients. No one would know if I didn't correct it, but my conscience wouldn't let me be at peace. I decided to correct the error, even knowing it could cause me problems. In the end, my honesty was recognized and valued. It's like building a house. The foundation isn't seen, but it's what supports the entire structure. And always remember, respect is earned, honesty is appreciated, and loyalty is returned. Throughout my life, I learned that being honest and loyal, even when it's difficult, always pays off in the end. I had a friend who went through financial difficulties, and I helped him without telling anyone. Years later, when I faced problems myself, he was the first to lend me a hand. It's like planting a tree. You care for it for years without seeing much result, but one day it gives you shade and fruits. Integrity is like an umbrella. It protects you on stormy days. There were moments in my life when I was tempted to take shortcuts, to do things that weren't right, but maintaining my integrity allowed me to sleep peacefully at night and look into the eyes of the people I love without shame. 12. Positive mindset. Now let's talk about the importance of having a positive mindset. My dears, what consumes your mind controls your life. I learned this the hard way when I got sick at 70. At first, I could only think of negative things, and this worsened my recovery. But then, I began to change my thoughts. Instead of complaining about the pain, I was grateful for every small improvement. Instead of feeling like a burden to my family, I valued the love and care I received. This change in mindset not only accelerated my recovery, but also improved my relationships. And remember, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Many times in life, we get comfortable in our comfort zone, but it's when we face challenges that we really grow. When I decided to learn to use the computer at 75, it was a big challenge. There were moments of frustration, but each obstacle overcome made me feel more alive and capable. It's like exercising. At first it can be difficult and uncomfortable, but it's this challenge that strengthens our muscles and improves our health. Cultivate a positive mindset and embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. 13. Acceptance and gratitude. My dears, I want to talk about the importance of acceptance and gratitude in life. Practice self-compassion. We're all human and make mistakes. I remember when I lost all my savings in an unsuccessful investment. At first, I blamed myself terribly. I couldn't forgive myself. But over time, I learned to have compassion for myself. I understood that making mistakes is part of life, and that the important thing is to learn from them. This self-compassion helped me move forward and rebuild my financial life with more wisdom. And never forget, give time. Time heals almost everything. When I lost my wife, I thought the pain would never pass, but gradually, with time, the pain transformed into fond memories and gratitude for the moments we lived together. It's like a wound. At first, this practice helps me start the day with a light heart full of hope. 14. Facing challenges now. Let's talk about how to face life's challenges. Know that you'll only find a rainbow if you look up. When I faced serious health problems at 78, I could have given in to discouragement. But I decided to look up to seek the positive side of the situation. I discovered that experience brought me closer to my family, made me value each day of life, and taught me to take better care of my health. It's like being on a rainy day. If you keep looking at the ground, you'll only see mud. But if you look up, you might see the rainbow. And remember, tough times don't last, but tough people do. I've been through many difficulties in life. I lost my job at 50, faced widowhood at 65, had serious health problems. But in each situation, I chose to be resilient. It's like a tree in a storm. It may bend with the wind, but it doesn't break. Its deep roots keep it firm. Cultivate this inner strength, this resilience. It will be your greatest asset in difficult times. 15. Living fully. Finally, my dears, I want to talk about living life fully. Have no regrets, only blessings. Don't worry, just accept. Have no expectations, only gratitude. I spent a lot of time in my life worrying about the future or regretting the past, but I realized that this only robbed me of the joy of the present. Today, at 85, I've learned to see each day as a blessing. When I wake up with back pain instead of complaining, I'm grateful for another day to live and enjoy. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of stressing, I accept and seek to learn from the situation. It's like appreciating a meal. You can worry about the calories or the dishes to wash afterward, or you can simply savor each bite with gratitude. Choose to savor life, with all its imperfections and surprises. And never forget, life is short. Live it fully and with an open heart. I've seen many people postpone happiness, waiting for the perfect moment to live. But the truth is that the perfect moment is now. Don't wait to take that trip, to say, I love you, to pursue your dreams. At 80 years old, I decided to learn to paint. Many thought it was too late, but it was precisely these painting classes that brought a new color to my life. It's like planting a tree. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Live each day as if it were your last, but plan as if you were going to live forever. Cultivate deep relationships, pursue your dreams, learn new things, help others. Life is a precious gift, and each of us has the power to make it a unique and beautiful work of art. My dears, I hope that these words from an old man who has lived a lot can bring a little light and wisdom to your lives. Always remember, life is an incredible journey, full of ups and downs, challenges and achievements. Embrace every moment, learn from every experience, and above all, love. Love yourselves, love others, love life in all its forms. And when things get tough, when the path seems uncertain, remember to look within yourself. There, you'll find the strength, wisdom and love needed to move forward. Life is a wonderful gift, my dears. Live it with gratitude, with courage, and with an open heart. May your lives be long, full, and filled with love. And may you one day sit as I'm sitting now, looking back with a smile on your face and gratitude in your heart, knowing that you've lived a truly well-lived life. Now, let me share with you some more wisdom I've gathered over the years. These are lessons that have shaped my life and might help guide yours. 16. The power of kindness, you know. In this world that can sometimes seem harsh and unforgiving, never underestimate the power of a simple act of kindness. I remember when I was going through a particularly tough time after losing my job. I was feeling pretty low walking through the park when a stranger stopped to ask if I was okay. We ended up talking for an hour on a park bench. That simple act of kindness from a stranger lifted my spirits and reminded me that there's still good in the world. It's like throwing a pebble into a pond. The ripples spread far beyond where it lands. Your kindness might seem small to you, but to someone else it could mean the world. Hold the door for someone, offer a genuine compliment, or simply smile at a stranger. These small acts can change someone's entire day, or even their life. And here's the beautiful thing about kindness. It's contagious. When you're kind to someone, they're more likely to be kind to others. It's like starting a chain reaction of goodness. So, be the one to start that chain. You never know how far it might reach. 17. Embracing change now. Let's talk about change. Oh boy, if there's one constant in life, it's change. When I was younger, I used to resist change with all my might. I liked things just the way they were. Thank you very much. But you know what? I learned that fighting change is like trying to hold back the tide. It's exhausting and futile. I remember when my daughter convinced me to move from our old family home into a smaller apartment. At first, I was devastated. That house held so many memories. But you know what? That change opened up a whole new chapter in my life. I met new neighbors, discovered new hobbies, and found a sense of freedom I hadn't expected. Change is like stepping into a river. You can never step into the same river twice because it's always flowing, always changing. Instead of fighting it, learn to flow with it. Be like a tree that bends with the wind rather than breaking. Flexibility, my dears, is the key to weathering life's storms. 18. The joy of lifelong learning. Now, here's something I'm passionate about. Never stop learning. You know, some folks think that learning stops when you finish school. Oh, how wrong they are. Life is the greatest teacher of all, and it never stops offering lessons if you're willing to learn. At 70, I decided to learn Spanish. My grandkids thought it was hilarious hearing their old grandpa stumbling over words like a toddler. But you know what? By the time I was 75, I was reading Don Quixote in its original language. The joy I felt when I finished that book, well, it was indescribable. Learning keeps your mind sharp and your spirit young. It doesn't matter what you learn, a new language, a craft, how to use the latest gadget. What matters is that you keep challenging yourself, keep growing. It's like exercising your brain. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And here's a secret. Learning new things makes you more interesting. It gives you stories to tell, experiences to share. So never think you're too old to learn something new. As long as you're breathing, you have the capacity to grow and learn. 19. The importance of forgiveness. Forgiveness. This is a tough one, isn't it? But let me tell you, learning to forgive is one of the most liberating things you can do for yourself. I'm not saying it's easy. Oh no, it can be one of the hardest things you'll ever do, but it's worth it. I had a falling out with my brother over a business deal gone wrong. For years, we didn't speak. I held on to that anger, nurturing it like a poisonous plant. But you know what? That anger was hurting me more than it was hurting him. It was like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. One day, I decided to let it go. I called him up, we talked it out, and while things weren't perfect, we were able to rebuild our relationship. the weight that lifted from my shoulders, well, it felt like I could fly. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing what happened. It means choosing to let go of the anger and resentment for your own peace of mind. It's like cleaning out a wound. It might hurt at first, but it's necessary for healing. Remember, forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It frees you from the burden of anger and allows you to move forward with a lighter heart. 20. The value of presence. In this fast-paced world of ours, with all its distractions and noise, one of the greatest gifts you can give someone is your full presence. I'm talking about really being there, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too. I remember when my granddaughter was little, she'd come over and want to show me her latest drawing or tell me about her day at school. At first, I'd half listen while thinking about other things or glancing at the TV. But then I realized these moments are precious and they're fleeting. Focused attention can mean more than an hour of distracted time. So put down your phone, turn off the TV, and really be there with the people in your life. Listen not just to respond, but to understand. Look them in the eye. Give them the gift of your undivided attention. Trust me, it's one of the most valuable things you can offer. 21. The strength in vulnerability. Now, this might sound counterintuitive, but hear me out. There's incredible strength in allowing yourself to be vulnerable. For most of my life, I thought being strong meant never showing weakness, never admitting when I was struggling. Boy, was I wrong. It wasn't until my late 60s that I learned the power of opening up. After my wife passed, I tried to soldier on, pretending I was fine, but I was falling apart inside. It wasn't until I allowed myself to be vulnerable, to admit I was struggling and ask for help, that I truly began to heal. Being vulnerable is like opening a window in a stuffy room. It lets the fresh air in. It allows people to truly see you, and in turn, allows you to truly connect with others. It takes more courage to open your heart than to keep it closed. Remember, showing your vulnerability isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It shows you're brave enough to be authentic, to be real. And that, my friends, jokes is true strength. 22. The art of listening. You know, we often underestimate the power of truly listening. Most people listen with the intent to reply, not to understand. But let me tell you, learning to really listen is one of the greatest skills you can develop. I remember when I was working as a manager, I had an employee who was constantly underperforming. My first instinct was to reprimand him, to tell him to shape up or ship out. But instead, I decided to really listen to him. And you know what I discovered? He was struggling with family issues that were affecting his work. By truly listening, I was able to understand his situation and work out a solution that helped both him and the company. Listening is like being a detective. You're not just hearing the words, but also picking up on the tone, the body language, the things left unsaid. It's about creating a space where the other person feels heard and understood. So next time someone is talking to you, try this. Put aside your own thoughts, your own agenda. Focus entirely on what they're saying. Ask questions to understand, not to respond. You'll be amazed at how this simple act can transform your relationships and open up new levels of understanding. 23. The beauty of simplicity. In this complex world of ours, there's something to be said for simplicity. We often think that more is better, more stuff, more activities, more commitments. But I've found that true happiness often lies in simplicity. When I retired, I thought I needed to fill every moment with activity to feel fulfilled. I signed up for clubs, volunteered for every committee, said yes to every invitation. But you know what? I was exhausted and stressed. It wasn't until I started simplifying my life that I found true contentment. Simplicity is like a clean, uncluttered room. It gives you space to breathe, to think, to be. It's about focusing on what truly matters and letting go of the rest. It's about quality over quantity. Try this. Look at your life and ask yourself, what truly brings me joy? What aligns with my values? Focus on those things and have the courage to let go of the rest. You might find that in simplicity, you discover a richness you never knew existed. 24. the power of gratitude. Now, let me tell you about one of the most transformative practices I've discovered in my long life. Gratitude. It's so simple, yet so powerful. Every night before bed, I take a few moments to think of 3 things I'm grateful for. Some days it's big things like my health or my family. Other days it might be as simple as a good cup of coffee or a beautiful sunset. This practice has changed my life. It's like putting on a pair of glasses that helps you see the world differently. Even on tough days, it reminds me that there's always something to be thankful for. Gratitude is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. It shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have. It turns what you have into enough. So try this. Start each day by thinking of 3 things you're grateful for. It could be anything: the warm sun on your face, a friend's kind word, the ability to take a deep breath. You'll be amazed at how this simple practice can shift your entire perspective and fill your life with joy. 25. The importance of legacy. As I approach the twilight of my life, I've been thinking a lot about legacy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about having buildings named after you or leaving behind great wealth. I'm talking about the impact you leave on the world and the people around you. Your legacy is like a garden you tend throughout your life. Every kind word, every good deed, every person you help or inspire, these are the seeds you plant. And long after you're gone, this garden will continue to grow and bear fruit. I've realized that the most important legacy we leave behind is the love we've shared and the lives we've touched. It's the values we've lived by and passed on to others. It's the kindness we've shown and the difference we've made, no matter how small. So ask yourself, how do I want to be remembered? What mark do I want to leave on the world? Then live each day with that in mind. Be kind, be helpful, be loving. Share your wisdom, your time, your love generously. Because in the end, that's what truly matters. My dear friends, as I sit here sharing these thoughts with you, I'm filled with a deep sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the life I've lived, for the lessons I've learned. Love deeply. Love often, love without fear. May your journey through life be as rich and rewarding as mine has been. May you find joy in the simple things, strength in the challenges, and peace in your heart. And when you reach the age I am now, may you look back on your life with a smile, knowing that you've lived it well. Thank you for listening to this old man's ramblings. It's been a pleasure sharing my thoughts with you. Now go out there and live your best life. The world is waiting for you,